Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. I am your host, Josh Davis, also known as Crash. Today is Tuesday, January 17th, 2023, and I am here to go over the 4-game slate in the NBA tonight. If you're new to the channel, if you would hit the like button and then hit subscribe. Once you've done those two things, if you will, hit the alarm bell. That will let you know when the newest podcast has gone live. So we appreciate you joining us today. If you're new to DFS Coach Talk, if you would, we have a free membership that we're offering right now. If you go to dfscoachtalk.com, you can join us for a free week's trial period and hopefully stay longer than that, but at least join us for free for a week, so you can't beat that. The link for that is posted on our Twitter account at DFS Coach Talk, so make sure you check that out. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get into tonight's 4-game slate in the NBA. The first game we have is going to be the Toronto Raptors at my Milwaukee Bucks. This game starts at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, so we have a little bit later start time than normal. The normal 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern time start, so we have a 7:30 Eastern game. Milwaukee is favored by 1.5, which is a little surprising to me. I would think Toronto would actually be favored with Giannis out. But Giannis and Middleton are out still, and Serge Ibaka is, of course, out as well. And then for the Raptors, Delano Banton is still out. Their starting lineup for Toronto is projected to be Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent Jr., OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam, and Scotty Barnes. For the Bucks, you've got Drew Holiday, Grayson Allen, Patrick Connaughton, Bobby Portis, and Brook Lopez. So in this game, you know, the favorite play for me on the Toronto side is Fred VanVleet. He's 7,800 on DraftKings, 7,100 on FanDuel, $28 on Yahoo. The last time they played on January 4th, they played in Toronto, and VanVleet had 65 DraftKings points in that game against Milwaukee. Now, that was without Drew Holiday, so that's a pretty big deal, obviously. But Drew Holiday played yesterday, and TJ McConnell had a career game. So I like VanVleet. He's averaged around 45 DraftKings points the last 5 times he's faced Milwaukee. So at 7,100, especially on FanDuel, I feel like that's a really good value for what he can produce. Even 7,800 on DraftKings and then 28 on Yahoo is still a good value. The other play I like on Toronto, Gary Trent Jr., 6,700 on DraftKings and FanDuel, $22 on Yahoo. The Bucks really struggled with 3-point shooters. We saw that a lot yesterday against Indiana, Nembhard, of course, McConnell, Turner, Buddy Hield, you name it. They were all making those threes. So I like Gary Trent Jr. He's, like I said, 6,700 on both DraftKings and FanDuel, $22 on Yahoo. And he did have 38.3 DraftKings points against the Bucks on that January 4th matchup. For the Bucks, Giannis is out, so you look at Drew Holiday. Had one of his best games of the year yesterday with 63.5 DraftKings points against Indiana. He's 8,000 on DraftKings, 7,900 on FanDuel, $29 on Yahoo. So he'll be one of my top plays on this slate. Also like Bobby Portis. 7,000 on DraftKings, 6,800 on FanDuel, $23 on Yahoo. He's averaged about 37, just under 37, 36.9 DraftKings points with Giannis out of the lineup this year. So I definitely like him. I like Brook Lopez. He's been playing well pretty much for the last several weeks at a minimum. He's really been playing well all year. He's 5,800 on DraftKings, 6,400 on FanDuel, $24 on Yahoo. When they faced each other on January 4th, he had 39.3 DraftKings points. So I do like Brook Lopez as well. Grayson Allen and Pat Connaughton are good value plays. You're going to get probably around 30, I would say, fantasy points from them, and they're priced around the 4 to 5K range on all sites, and then around like the 15 or something dollar range. And I think Grayson Allen might be 15, and then Connaughton like 11 on Yahoo. So really good value there. I like all those guys. So, probably $3 or $4. And then, for sure VanVleet, and then maybe Gary Trent Jr. too on the Toronto side. The second game, we have the Brooklyn Nets and the San Antonio Spurs. The Brooklyn Nets are favored by 4, has a 229.5 over under. The big news here is that Kyrie Irving is questionable. So once we find out if he's going to play or not, it's really going to shape how we're going to build the rest of our lineup. Right now, it's leaning pretty Milwaukee heavy for me, not because, I'm a Bucks fan, but mostly because of all the value that you can get and the usage, how it gets spread out when Giannis isn't on the floor. We saw that quite a bit yesterday with the Bucks being in the optimal lineups. So I like in this game, it's all going to depend if Kyrie plays, but assuming that he plays, I do like Kyrie. The Spurs have allowed the 4th most fantasy points to point guards this year. He's 9,900 on DraftKings, 9,300 on FanDuel, $38 on Yahoo. And the last time they played on January 2nd, Kevin Durant played, and Irving had 42.5 DraftKings points. So I would expect him to at least get 50, if not more, in this matchup tonight, without Durant on the floor if Kyrie plays. So if he plays, I do like Kyrie. If not, Seth Curry is a good value, 4,300 on DraftKings, 4,900 on FanDuel, $10 on Yahoo. I also like Royce O'Neal. He's been playing pretty well. The Spurs have allowed the 2nd most fantasy points to shooting guards, which is kind of where Royce O'Neal has been playing. He was playing at power forward early in his career, but now he's kind of moved to the guard position. So I do like him. He's averaged 32.8 the last 4 games, 32.8 DraftKings points without Kevin Durant on the floor. Nicholas Claxton, I also like. The Spurs have allowed the 9th most fantasy points to centers this year. He's 7,200 on DraftKings and FanDuel, $25 on Yahoo. And Ben Simmons, I will play if Irving is out, but if Irving plays, I'm not going to go to Ben Simmons. Kyrie's out. Okay, I haven't seen that yet, but I believe if I can get complete confirmation on that, let me check real quick. Only trust a couple sources on the NBA, so check these sources and see what they're saying. Yep, Kyrie Irving is out, ruled out 3 minutes ago. So with that being said, then we will go ahead and look at Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Royce O'Neal, Nicholas Claxton. All those guys are in play. Even Joe Harris, is another option for some value. Let me look and see what the ownership looks like on those guys, though, because that is a concern. Everybody's going to flock to them, and I don't want to do that if they do. Yeah, so Ben Simmons is the highest projected owned player on DraftKings at 59.8. Then you have Drew Holiday at 49.2, Damian Lillard at 41.3, Portis is 40.7, Brook Lopez 31.1, Joe Ingles 29.2. Joe Ingles is 3,500, but I don't know if I would go to him or not. Yeah, I'm kind of iffy on him actually. And then Seth Curry is 27.3, Jakob Poeltl 26.5, Royce O'Neal 23.6. Yuta Watanabe is a top play, looks like, at 23.2%. He's 3,300. Grayson Allen, 4,600. He's 23.1. And then Josh Richardson, 4,500, 22.4. That's on DraftKings. On FanDuel, make sure I got the latest projections here. On FanDuel, you've got Drew Holiday, the highest projected owned at 53.3. Then Bobby Portis, 46.2. Simmons at 46. Van Vliet at 40.4. Grayson Allen, 39.6. TJ Warren, that's another play that you can look at for Brooklyn. I like that play, 38.4. Keldon Johnson, I have not been impressed with him. He has not been putting up decent numbers for his price and the amount of usage that or ownership that he gets. So I'm not going to be playing Keldon Johnson. Kyrie Irving, he's 29.6% projected owned on FanDuel. This is obviously not the most updated. That's why I was wondering. So we'll have to wait and see what the newest. I'll check and see it before we leave. if it's updated from there. But anyway, yeah, the Nets are going to be high owned, so you can just kind of keep an eye on that and play the ones that you like. For me, I'm probably looking at the value plays on the Nets more than anything. And then we can look at the Spurs. I do like Pirtle, 6,200 on DraftKings, 7,000 on FanDuel, and $24 on Yahoo. It's really the only play on the Spurs that I like tonight. The next game we have at 9 p.m. Eastern, the Portland Trailblazers at the Denver Nuggets. Denver's favored by 5.5. This game has a 237 over-under, which is the highest on the slate. For the Blazers, Gary Payton Jr. looks like he's probable. And then Justice Winslow is out. For the Nuggets, Jamal Murray is questionable, I see here. And then Bones Highland is also questionable. So it'll be interesting to see what they do at the point guard position if both of those guys are out. And then you have the other guys that have been out, Canchar, Gillespie, Jeff Green, and PJ Watson. Projected starting lineup for the Blazers is Damian Lillard, Anthony Simons, Josh Hart, Jeremy Grant, and Yusuf Nurkic. For the Nuggets, Jamal Murray, who I mentioned, is questionable, so we'll see if he plays or not. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, and Nikola Jokic. In this game, I like Damian Lillard. He's 9,500 on DraftKings, 9,900 on FanDuel, $38 on Yahoo. The Nuggets have allowed the 7th most fantasy points to point guards this year, and he's averaged 66.2 DraftKings points his last 5 games in Denver. So he's played really well in that building. So I do like Damian Lillard a lot. Jokic on the other side, obviously, it's a good matchup for him. Portland's allowed the 5th most fantasy points to centers, and he has averaged about 51 DraftKings points against them this year. He had 60 the last 2 times he faced them. 12,000 on DraftKings, 11,500 on FanDuel, $57 on Yahoo. He is the most expensive player on the slate, but especially if Murray's out, he's going to get a ton of usage. So you can definitely keep an eye on him. And that's really it. I was looking at Murray if he plays. He had a monster game against Portland on December 23rd with 58.5 DraftKings points. So if he plays, Jamal Murray is in play too. But I'm not sure I'm going to get to Jokic, to be honest. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be saving that salary for some other plays, probably multiple pay-up options, but not quite as expensive as Jokic or Embiid. It's kind of what I'm looking at. The last game of the night we have at 10 p.m. Eastern, the Philadelphia 76ers at the Los Angeles Clippers. Clippers are favored by 1.5, has a 223 over-under. In this game, I do like Embiid, but I also like another 76er more than Embiid. So Embiid's 11-3 on DraftKings, 11-6 on FanDuel, 53 on Yahoo. LA's allowed the 10th most fantasy points to centers. Last time they played the Clippers on December 23rd, he had 63.3 DraftKings points, and he's averaged about 59.5 DraftKings points the last 4 times he's faced the Clippers. The other Sixer that I like, and I'm hoping he's going to go low-owned, is James Harden. He's 10,000 on DraftKings, 10.5 on FanDuel, $44 on Yahoo. LA's allowed the 6th most fantasy points to point guards, and he's averaged 71.4 DraftKings points the last 5 times that he's faced the Clippers. He had 71.8 on December 23rd, so it's definitely not a fluky thing. I think it's kind of going to be like what we saw with Fred VanVleet yesterday against the Knicks. He's just absolutely tore them up. Same thing with Harden here against the Clippers. I think he'll go low-owned, and I think he's a really good tournament pay-up option. On the Clippers, you've got Kawhi Leonard, 10-3 on DraftKings. He's expensive over there. 9,400 on FanDuel is pretty good. $40 on Yahoo. Sixers have allowed the 10th most fantasy points to power forwards. We'll have to see if Paul George is going to play. Last I saw, he was questionable. So if Paul George plays, and that's going to shake this up quite a bit. But assuming that he's still out, I think Kawhi's in play. I think Norman Powell's in play. I think Robert Covington is a value play against his former team. I think he's in play. He's 3,600 on DraftKings, 4,500 on FanDuel, and $10 on Yahoo. So that's going to do it for the 4-game breakdown. I'm going to look and see if PrizePicks is updated because I've been waiting for some fantasy score plays that haven't been on the board yet. So I'm hoping they will be. Okay, so here they are. All right, so Grayson Allen, 23.5. Bobby Portis, 34.5. All right, so I'm going to go with Drew Holiday over 41.5 fantasy score. That wasn't on the board earlier. More than 41.5, I guess you should say technically. And then James Harden, as I mentioned, he's averaging 71 last 5 games against the Clippers, and they've got him at 45.5. So I really like that. And then I'm going to go with Damian Lillard more than 48.5 fantasy score. So it's going to be Drew Holiday more than 41.5, James Harden more than 45.5, and Damian Lillard more than 48.5. Let me go ahead and check the chat and see what kind of questions we've got here. Sumner, yeah, you could probably look at Sumner. I'm sure he's probably going to be popular. Let me see what his ownership looks like right now. Like I don't have an update in the last 47 minutes. So this is not going to be the most current update. Hopefully they update it soon. But yeah, Sumner's not he's not even showing up in the projections. So this was obviously before Kyrie was ruled out. What else you got for me here? Yeah, Bruce Brown. Yeah, he's the option. I'm waiting to see, though, if Jamal Murray's going to be out or not before I decide to play, any of those other Nuggets. So for me, for my lineup, I'm looking at Holiday, Harden, Van Vliet, kind of a more balanced lineup, not paying up for the big pay up guys. Harden would be probably the most expensive that I'd pay up for. I think most people are going to play Jokic and Embiid and just, use all the value that's out there is kind of what I think is going to happen. But we'll have to see what the ownership looks like once we get closer to lock. But we've got over an hour before lock, so that's good. I hope everybody has a great night tonight. Let's absolutely crush it. If you haven't joined us yet, once again, you can join us at dfscoachtalk.com. We have a free membership right now. We're doing a free week membership for the NFL playoff special. It started last weekend, and we'd love to have you join us. DFS Coach Talk is a very family-friendly, not a lot of trash talking, negativity, anything like that. We keep it very family-like, and so we'd love to have you join us. Hope everybody has a great night. Lineups will be posted in about 38 minutes. So hope everybody has a great night, and we'll be back again tomorrow when we look to crush it in NBA, DFS, and PrizePicks. Thank you.